Hello, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I titled this message, When Women Do Scandalous Things for Their Loved Ones. When women do scandalous things for their loved ones. This could be the mother, the grandmother. This could be the best friend of 30 plus years. Oh, what makes them so scandalous? Well, sometimes there are some motivations behind the scandal. Some motivations that they never verbalized to family members and friends. They kept it all inside. They tolerated a person, a group for far too long, should have long left the toxic connection, relationship, partnership, but stayed with this person or this group, and their minds, their bodies, and their spirits became corrupt. Now she's thinking in terms of survival. Now she's thinking about what can I get because they took so much from me. Now she's thinking about my children are in the next room crying. This man has done this, whatever that is, and I'm sick of it. And now I'm going to pay him back. Scandalous women. Some of them, there is no reason. Investigators, prosecutors, police officers speak to them. Why did you do that? That was awful what you did. What would move on you to stoop so low? And they have nothing to say. Something snapped. Something broke. They have no explanation, or whatever the explanation is, it makes no sense to anyone. Do you have a scandalous woman in the camp? Are you the man who you don't have any pity, empathy, sympathy for that woman because you know the dirt that she has done? One particular relative said, "Why are you getting on me when I know, mama, what you did?" Ooh. We were all at a family holiday event, like, what? And, some folks were just kind of laughing it off. And other people were like, what? What's going on here? And then she got indignant with him and pretty much told him to sit his you-know-what behind down, or she was going to go upside his head. And I think at that point, he realized, I don't feel like going home with a lump on my head. I'm going to shut my mouth. And so in that very moment, there were those that were wondering, what exactly is he talking about? Years later, we found out that there was some scandalous things that were being said by that particular relative. There were some lies that had been told, some cover-ups, some, self-righteous types of behaviors. You got a lot of nerve when you're the biggest hypocrite going type of arguments. And it was just messy. Okay. It was messy. So, yes, there are scandalous women. There are scandalous Christian women. There are scandalous Christian, black, brown, red, yellow, white women. There's all sorts of scandalous women. And I have 4 sons. Okay? So you can only imagine what our conversations are like because I don't want them to be tripping up on that wrong one. But I know that, hey, you want to play, you want to do some things, you're going to learn the hard way. If you listen and follow the Lord, allow him to lead you. The one said, I'm not going to be thinking with my little head. I'm thinking with my big head. I said, okay. I heard that one before years ago, long before you were even thought about. But okay, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. So, scandalous woman, she might be the one woman who wants your man. Never detected it, never felt it until something rubbed you the wrong way. Or your own husband or boyfriend told you, don't bring her around. And you're thinking he's just being controlling. No, something could have transpired between the two of them. And he just doesn't want to tell you. When a man tells you, suddenly out the clear blue, possibly, or he's been alluding for a long time, don't bring her around here. He's saying that for good reason. Another relative had spoken years ago about a particular best friend who she liked to come around the house, and she was warm and friendly and everyone liked her. But then one day she was going through some challenges with her own husband and started looking at the relative's husband saying, I wish my husband was more like him. And you all got a lot of stuff, and you seem like you got it together, and I wish I could just have what you have. Oh, the woman said that she made sure she cut off that relationship really quick. Too much wishing, hoping. The friend, she's given all the red flag warning signs, and yet you still want her to come to the holiday event. You still buying gifts. This is somebody's confirmation. I wouldn't recommend. When you see the writing on the wall, you don't draw that person even closer to you than they already are. No, I've got to start putting a fortress around. I got to start putting some boundaries. I got to stand up and let this person know that I'm not so comfortable and so weak like you think that I can't fight for what's mine. I remember an individual, while her husband was at work, she was always working out. I used to observe her. She was a young woman too. I mean, her husband could have been at least 30 plus years older than her. And we did get to talk, that husband and I, because they ended up having a major falling out. Police were called, and I was concerned about her safety. And I told him, I said, look, I was a victim of domestic violence, and I understand that there was some things that went down. And, he gave his side of the story, and I could tell he was kind of talking in a way where it was more her fault than it was his. But I'll be honest, in my mind, I was thinking, you're the older one, okay? You've been around the block. How many marriages did you say? I think you said 3. Okay, so then you know better. She's not just going in on you just to go in on you. You're being controlling. This is a young woman. This is a woman who she's realizing that she don't have to be with you. She's out here. She's working out. She knows she's not going to let herself fall apart, especially if you're just temporary. So I'm thinking all sorts of things in my mind. And at the same time, though, there was this empathy that creeped upon me concerning the man. Like, wait a minute, this man right here, this isn't one of those mean-spirited, pimp player, hustler, gambler type. Nah, this man, he's just a nice guy. Yeah, he's made his share of mistakes, but this girl got a lot of energy, and he can't really tango with her like that. He needed to just find somebody that was closer to his age, or just sit it all out. Like, look, I don't have the time, the energy, the money to be dealing with these women like this. So I wouldn't dare say, though, that I felt like there was possibly somebody who she liked. And that was possibly what was stirring up the pot, because she was going to that gym like clockwork. And then there were times where she would leave with full on makeup and dressed to the nine. Child still in school, so she got time to do whatever she need to do. Go pick up child, go home, make some food, act like nothing ever happened. Give her body some time to recoup. That way, by the time nighttime, evening rolls around, she'll be able to perform. Scandalous. Don't know for certain, but I'm just mentioning observations. This was years ago. The woman is probably at least 30 something now. Back then she was a ripe early 20s. So when you see some things, right? You experience, you feel something's not right. You're possibly working with someone who's doing their share of rule breaking. This scandalous woman is someone who you don't take lightly. We've got to be observant. The Lord, he moves on our spirit and he says, pay attention. Look around. When Jesus was in settings, he was paying attention. He was the teacher. So he was available to talk, right? To answer questions, to caution. Some of you all, you're going into these settings. You don't go into settings like a teacher. You're not observing. You're not available for a question and answer session. But you got a lot of years though. You don't mind telling people, I've been on this planet. I know, I've been here, there, and everywhere. Okay, that's good. But are you utilizing your life experience to speak to the young person who is involved with, connected to, is telling you about the scandalous woman or women in their lives? What can you say to a man or to a woman who is in a relationship, let's say, where there's a controlling mother involved? This controlling mother is saying, you're going to be here for the holidays. You're going to buy me this. You're going to make sure you do for me. Meanwhile, the couple was having all sorts of arguments back and forth about what mama said the last time, what mama did, what mama's asking for, and all of that. When do you establish boundaries? You could be that teacher to a young person who you witness is going through this. When do you speak up? It's not my business, says someone. Okay, if it's not your business, that's fine. Pray about it, though, because at some point it's going to be about your business. Because if you claim to be so loving, so kind, so sweet, that's my best friend, or that's, my favorite, whoever, and they come to you with a problem, I would hope that you would be willing to listen, and not only listen, but seek God on an answer to give them. Otherwise, you're not much of a friend, much of a brother, sister, cousin, aunt, whoever. Okay? Because God does put us in those situations. My sons have come and talked to me about all sorts of weird behaviors that some of these little girls have. And I'm always asking, well, where's the dad? Is the dad in the household? Does she have a good relationship with the dad? Does she see her dad if he's not in the household? One of my sons told me about a young girl who her father was not in her life. Not like that. Every now and again she would talk to him, but she was so frustrated, angry about a lot of things. And eventually she just exploded on another relative of his. And police had to get involved. She had pent up rage. She had been doing some sneaky things that she got caught for. And she wasn't too happy about that. Her own mother had to approach her about some things. Oh, she was filled with all of the fundamentals, the basic ingredients for a future scandalous woman. Okay? Rage, anger, bitterness, jealousy. My daddy don't love me. My daddy don't come around. I'm mad at the world. I could care less about your feelings. She raged so bad that, like I said, the police had to get involved. Why is she so sneaky, says someone about a person in their circle. Why is she always telling so many lies? I mean, I catch her in so much. No matter what I tell her, she'll say she's not going to do it again. She apologizes. But I bust her. I bust her when she says that she paid for this, but she really took the money and did something else with it. Or I busted her when she said that this didn't happen when that really did happen, and she just used someone else to cover up. Another person years ago said that her crush from back in high school had come to town and she was having some old feelings. Problem was that she's married. She decided to tell me about these sorts of things after she went on and had her fun. She said, I do this because, well, he's done his share, so it's my turn. That's how she justified it. I said, what if this turns into something more than, just a little hanky-panky? Yeah, I doubt it. You doubt it, huh? You don't want two grown men out there on the front lawn fighting each other and both of them end up in jail. But what do I know, right? I'm trying to keep some people out of trouble, and some folks just want to keep running toward the trouble. So, needless to say, over time, we didn't talk no more about those behaviors, those actions. Matter of fact, eventually, we just stopped talking altogether. Because, people after a while, they don't want to hear, that truth, right? They don't want to hear you speaking to them about their scandalous ways. Some of you all, you sat down and you talked to a mother, you talked to a sister, an aunt, a best friend, and you said, girl, don't dress like that. Don't you tell me how to dress. Oh, you want to be that way too. I'm just saying, because when we go out, there's always some kind of problem, and you're married anyway. Why can't you just put some clothes on and just, what I tell you, don't be talking to me about my clothes. You see? Okay. Let her go by herself. You don't have to tote along. You see? After a while, God is only going to instruct you to say but so much to someone. And then eventually he says, I do have access to new friendships, right? You do know that I can give you new connections, new opportunities. I can relocate you even if you would like. I can get a different job for you. God is powerful like that. God has done that sort of thing. When I was feeling really lonely years ago, I said, Lord, I don't want to keep dealing with this same circle of people that I was dealing with at the time, because I knew that there was going to be drama if I said this, or drama if I did that. And how come you this, and and I didn't want to deal with all of that. And so the Lord spoke to me and he said, create distance. Okay. It wasn't like cold turkey. It was over time. So the calls became less and less frequent. The coming around became less and less frequent. And then eventually all of it. That's it. And so I started feeling lonely, because it's like after you cut away, folks, because you don't want to be caught up in their scandals. You don't want to be a part of the dramas and traumas. I was starting to feel lonely. And I said, where's God in all of this? I don't know if he really wanted me to, disconnect from all these people. I just don't think it's a good idea. Are you going to replace, these people in my life? It's kind of lonely. In time, I got to meet different people. My prayer was 5-minute friendships, because the Lord showed me where I wasn't ready for friendship. I thought I was. The Lord said, no, you're not. I do have an audio about this sort of thing. New friendships. Are you ready for new friendships? So 5-minute friendship was okay. Long-term friendship, not okay. Still a work in progress. Had to get my own issues straightened out. Didn't want to be a burden to anyone. You all know the rest. That's why you're sitting out. It's too much. I get it. So as I'm working on me, the enemy is figuring out who he can send my way to disrupt progress. Because remember, there's always the phony person who comes before the real person, the authentic one, the one that God has called. I have to say that again. There's always the phony, the fake, okay, that shows up before the authentic person. The false love, the, oh, I like you, that sort of thing, before the one who real love, and I do love you. So the first person, as I was going through my healing, was somebody that was just right there out on the street. Walked up to me out the clear blue. It was the strangest thing. Got off the bus. I was on that, I could even remember the bus that I was on out there in Pittsburgh. It was 86A, back in those days, East Hills, or 86B, Frankstown. Anyway, I'm minding my own business. I get off the bus and this man follows me. I didn't know that he was following me. This is why you look around. And so I continue on. And then it's like I hear this voice behind me. Hey, how you doing? And I was like, hey, how you doing? And you know how we do. We look up and down. Like, who are you? Why are you here? And he says to me something like, yeah, I've been seeing you for a while. Ooh, cold chills. And I just wanted to know, I mean, are you involved with someone? Would you like to, go out? Would you, I'm involved with someone. Oh, at the time I wasn't. That's just the first thing that came to my mind. And he goes, okay, my bad. I'm sorry. I said, yeah, he said, okay. I wish you weren't like that. And he looked like Jay-Z, a younger version of Jay-Z back then, and I didn't think Jay-Z was the nicest looking, man. So that wasn't about to win me over. So, so needless to say, I didn't continue a discussion with him, and he went on about his way. But I did, from that point on, pay attention to my surroundings, because wherever he was watching me and knowing when I got off the bus and all of that. So that was the fake before the real. The real shows up, but the timing wasn't right. And on top of that, God had warned me about this person, that I was to be a friend. Well, the enemy had a plan. Can I tell you that sometimes the scandalous woman isn't the person in front of you that you meet, the connection, the person that walks up to you on the street. There's the scandalous woman behind the one. Ooh, Lord Jesus. I'm coming where somebody is. I can feel it in the spirit. There's the scandalous woman behind the one who shows up. So that person could be serving a role for you. It could be a seasonal role. It could be, a life lesson. It could be you that's pulling the strings, doing your own thing. God not in the plan. But then behind that individual, you meet the scandalous mother, sister, cousin, grandmother, what have you. The Jezebel spirit, which I've already covered years ago on this channel. You're welcome to listen to that audio. So she shows up, and her plan is to divide and conquer. Her plan is to take what is hers. Her plan has selfish gain. Okay. She's showing up. And when she shows up, you're saying, I'm not in this partnership, in this connection for her. This could be at the workplace. It could be, an intimate relationship. You're just dating someone. I'm not in this connection, partnership, relationship for her. Why does she keep showing up? Why do you keep talking to Jezebel? We'll name her Jezebel. Why do you keep talking to her? Why do you keep telling her what we do? Why is it that I can't make a move without Jezebel already knowing? And not only that, she's 2-3 steps ahead. So the enemy presents someone who showed up, who they may have been meant to be in your life, but not everyone associated with that someone. Okay. Oh, the enemy's clever. Some of you, if you haven't gotten Know Your Enemy, the Christian's Critic, please do. I mean, I break down the strategies. These are timeless strategies. The book will never go out of date. When God moved on my spirit to write that book, that was because the believer so often is sidetracked by the enemy's devices. The believer thinks that God is going to come one way, and then the demonic brings up his phony self to test you out. God will even allow the test to see what you're made of. Will you stay faithful? Will you persevere? Will you learn this time? from this fire that you're going through. Some people don't learn. They continue to befriend Jezebel. They continue to invite Jezebel over to the family holiday event. They continue to sign documents with Jezebel. They continue to sleep with Jezebel. They continue to talk about Jezebel and all her friends, all these women. I can't stand them and all that. Turn some of these men so angry, so bitter, so resentful while they're accusing women of this. There's a lot of them that's this way because of the scandalous women that raised them. The scandalous women who, I love you, brother. You my best friend. And meanwhile, she abused brother, was doing some nasty things to brother. And now all the women got to pay the price because of what that one did. And he never wants to admit that she was doing some nasty things to him. You see, some men got so angry to the point where they were like, you know what? I'm not even dealing with these fishes. Ooh, ouch. Yeah, got all sorts of names. That was a mild name. I remember one particular man, every time he seen me, he couldn't stand me. I didn't say too much of anything to him. He just couldn't stand me because I was a woman. And he wanted to work with men. But they couldn't find men. And so here I came. And he wasn't happy about that. I guess she'll do. I got the work done. That's all that matters. What does it matter that I'm a woman? Because he went through some things. He didn't know what type of woman I was. He didn't know if I was a scandalous woman walking in the door and was going to give him grief. Turned out that I had more ways about me that seemed to be more tomboyish. And so he's like, I guess she'll do. I guess she's not so bad after all. Because I've, been around men for so long. And I got 4 sons. Sometimes I have to remind myself, hey, God made you a woman. So I show up and I've got to win the trust. I've got to show that, I'm not going to be that problem for him, that I'm not the stereotypical, whatever it is in his mind, the gossip, the, sassy, the attitude. Hey, how you doing? That's great. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What is it that you would like for me to do? Straight to the point. Not asking a bunch of questions, not, getting into his personal business, what he likes, what he's into. Matter of fact, he had even said that I don't discuss my personal relationship, but every now and again I would hear him talk about his boyfriend. But you don't discuss your personal relationship. In other words, I'm not going to be talking about my relationship with this, man that I'm involved with you. I don't care. I'm just here to do a job. But you see, this is what happens. You become very guarded when you've dealt with scandalous women, when you've dealt with your share of traumas as it relates to a woman. You start to, once again, paint that broad stroke on everybody. It wasn't all the women who hurt that man. It was certain ones, whether it was the mother or his sister, but it wasn't me. And that's what you have to keep saying to someone who, I got to deal with you for right now. But remember, I'm not everybody. I'm not, all of the people who ever hurt you. And you can do that in such a way by continuing to, just be that nice person that is following instructions, doing your job, and you go home and you do it all over again, and you're not about the funny business. And then at some point, what do they end up saying? Oh, I appreciate, what you did. Or they may never. But either way, you weren't the problem, for them. Now, some people will nitpick. They'll find fault because this is just too good to be true. I mean, my hypothesis tells me that all women are this way, but you showed up and you're different. Well, let me just nitpick. Let me find fault. Okay, the other day, she didn't put the pen back. Let me see what else I can come up with. Oh, she could have used some articles in that note that she wrote me. Yeah, the sentence structure is a little bit off. You see, the things that some individuals will come up with because you've got to prove my point that all of you scandalous women All you want is to hurt men. All you want is to abuse men. All you want is this and all you want is that. I don't feed into those sorts of conversations and, just the blatant, bold, ignorant responses that people have to audios, as it relates to the ones dealing with men and some of the things that the men have done. Not all, right? But some. But because some individuals have listened to so many bitter women, they assume that anything that is posted that has to do with a man specifically must be a bitter, angry, upset, jealous woman and blah, 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 blah. No, that is not true. So I know I got myself somebody who has been hurt. Oh, that's sad. Can't even listen to the audio because I don't like the tone of voice. She's this. She's that. Whatever the assumptions are. Throw in some ethnicity. Throw in some background. I know how your type is. Throw in a zodiac sign. Anything they can come up with, right? To do what? Ultimately what? What is the enemy doing? He's distracting them from the truth. He's distracting them from the subject matter, which is dealing with this scandalous woman. What am I going to do? I'm going to, number one, confront the scandalous woman. If she's saying some ridiculous things and I'm not quite getting why she's saying these things, or she's doing some things that are unethical, immoral, ungodly, she needs to be confronted. Number two, I'm praying behind closed doors. Matter of fact, that should have been point one. But I'm praying behind closed doors before I even deal with her. Okay? I'm also praying after I've dealt with her, because I know that she's going to do what? She's going to run to a flying monkey and start talking about, just using an example. Nicole said that I was a liar, and I'm not. I promise you, I'm telling the truth. And I don't understand why she would even do that. Okay. So I'm praying because I know that her flying monkey who loves her so, likes her so, is probably going to say, well, you know what? If that's what she said, then this is what you should do. The blood covering of Jesus be upon me. Number three is that I've got to find some evidence and proof depending on what the subject matter is, where this woman is defined as scandalous or described as scandalous. Okay, where's the evidence and proof? If there's no evidence and proof, it's going to be hard to come back and say, you did this, you said this, here's my witness. Okay, so always have evidence and proof when it comes to dealing with scandals and scandalous women. The other thing is that sometimes you've got to be the one that gets the law enforcement, the police officers involved, because you know that maybe somebody behind her has put her up to doing the dirt. Right? That she's doing. Sometimes you got to trap. Next point. You got to trap her. You got to trap the scandalous woman in her lies, in her cover-ups. Flip the camera on her. All right. You've got to be that one that, okay, let me find out what her weaknesses are. And I'm going to use her weaknesses against her. You're asking the Lord, though, for guidance, because you can come up with your own little plans. And the next thing you know, it ends up falling apart. And if God's not in the plan, all you're doing is getting yourself further ensnared into the witch's devices. I'm thinking of some of the celebrities who you all have seen a track record where men are destroyed, it seems, when they sleep with some of these witchy women. You see. Their careers, they question their sexual identity and everything, because some of these women are so wicked. Oh, you lied to me. Oh, you cheated on me. Oh, so they get to messing around with their potions and they start, chanting and doing all these other things. I don't do all of that. If I know that I've been wronged and disrespected, what I do is I get God involved, because I know God created all of us, and I know He knows the weaknesses, and I know too that from life experience that, hey, you put negative out there, you do dirt to people, it has a way of coming back. And time again, I've seen this with my own eyes. The scandalous woman ends up being tormented. The scandalous woman ends up having to go to the doctors. The scandalous woman ends up 6 feet deep in her grave. The scandalous woman ends up losing a whole lot of what she has acquired, earned. The scandalous woman ends up falling into a trap, a snare of some sort. Okay? There's women who have messed around with a long list of men, and managed to get the upper hand on most of them until they met a diehard Christian, an anointed and appointed believer. And no matter what she comes up with, I can't seem to get the best of them. I can't seem to, just destroy this man. I was able to do all the other ones that way, but this one, yeah, because God has his covering upon that one. And as you're gathering the evidence and proof, and as you're learning more things about this woman, right? You're doing your due diligence, you're researching. That's another point. You're continuing to pray. You're also safeguarding your heart, Lord Jesus. Your heart. Safeguard your heart. You don't continue to sleep with the enemy. You don't continue to put your children in her arms, right? You don't let her keep coming to your household knowing what you know about her. You don't trust your man going over there to fix something. You see? Just giving examples. Why do women continue to do this when we've already established she's scandalous? She lied to you. She cheated, right? Those are some of those signs, right? Lied, cheated. She had her flying monkeys to do some dirty things, okay? To mess you up, mess up your credit, mess up your good name. We know that she can be clever. She can say one thing, do something else, win your trust. She's charming. Not every scandalous woman is cussing and fussing and acting like a complete fool. I've met plenty of scandalous women with smiles on their faces. Didn't have one attitude at all. Matter of fact, seemed very confident and strong. Okay. Great speakers, but scandalous. Okay. So when you've got all the writing right there, all the information you've received, this isn't the type of information where you just go to sleep on it when you know the scandalous woman is among you. No, I'm going to start implementing some things. I'm going to start safeguarding, my heart. I'm going to protect my children. I'm going to keep my feet busy elsewhere so that I don't have to be around her. I'm going to decline invites. I'm going to find ways to get out of any type of deals or workplaces, departments, get transferred, whatever it takes. Because I know that she's doing nothing more than using me as a fall guy, fall gal, right? I remember one particular scandalous woman. I knew that she was looking for, I hate to say this, but it's sad and it makes my stomach kind of go in knots. But I knew that she was looking for a minority because there was another minority that was like her, it was like the Batman and Robin kind of thing going on. And she knew that that particular minority was very impressionable. However, she couldn't keep that minority around long to get some things done. That woman was the type of woman who the minority was the type of woman where she didn't question too many things. She was just so glad to have a job. But I wasn't that type of minority where I was just so excited to have a job that I'm willing to do whatever. And she knew that about me. She also knew I was an educated woman and that I had been around the best of them. Okay. So I got a lot of my education and teaching from white women, white men. So whatever she had in mind, it wasn't working. If anything, things were spinning, turning around. It was like a boomerang effect. Every time she put something out there in the hope of getting her selfish needs met, while she was rule breaking and everything else, there was always something that would come up that would mess things up. And so there were times where I just quite boldly spoke to her and told her, look, I don't think we need to do this, or I don't think that's a good idea, or maybe you want to try this and try that. And she realized, oh, this woman, she's like a goody two shoes. So she's not going to ride with me. She's not going to do the kind of things that the other one would have done. You see, the other one ended up having to serve some time. for something else that she did, you see. So she knew that she was capable of doing some dirt because she was already in trouble. And then along comes this woman, me. You're not going to do anything dirty. If anything, you're going to probably turn on me. You're probably going to snitch on me. You're one of those type, you see. So people are going to formulate all sorts of opinions about you. They're going to say some things that, is very well correct. And so what? I'm not going to be the one that's going to take the fall for you. So if that's what you're accustomed to, is working around minorities that are willing to do just about anything for you, and you think that they're just all dumb and stupid, you haven't met your match yet, So when there's these games that are being played because people are selecting friendships, connections, based on whatever scandals they got going, and they assume that because you look a certain way or because you talk a certain way, that you're going to be down with whatever. That's where you've got to let them know, I'm not who you think I am. You see, I'm on the good side of the law, not on the other side. You see. So I know for some of you all, this is tough because all sorts of people show up in your mind and you wanted to believe that they were honest. All sorts of writings on the wall show up. God has a way of doing that with these audio messages where you start saying, wow, the other day I really thought that she was telling the truth. But now that I think about it, she really wasn't. There was something a bit odd, little strange. I'm going to go back. I'm going to do my share of research. I'm going to go snoop. I'm going to find out whatever I need to find, to cover myself. I know that's right. You see, because these scandalous women, a lot of them are heartless, where the average woman, she'll cry because she did something wrong, right? And she don't want to be in trouble. And she's going to confess and she's going to repent because she's got, a conscience about her. God built her that way. But we got some women that they've been hurt so many times that they don't have a conscience and that they're going to do just about anything and still not have a tear. They will blink and then they won't. Like, okay, so you caught me, and back to the dirt they go. So I just wanted to acknowledge someone, give them some signs to watch out for, give them some ways in terms of dealing with the scandalous women, and may God bless you and keep you and protect you as you're dealing with these women who will not hesitate to hurt you or hurt someone else. Blessings to you. Please do check the description box for anything that is of interest. If you feel so moved to give, you're welcome to give. There are links in the description box. Feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. Thanks again.